All right. That is a number originally written by Willie Dixon. And he is the songwriter we will be talking about tonight. If you would please join us on our couch over here. I'm going to put my guitar down and we'll switch cameras and stuff, and we'll get down to business. Okay, so here we are, back over by the couch.
Yeah, couch can. All right.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. If you're
last
watching,
time was really fun. And,
yeah,
we got a lot of great responses from everybody, and a lot of messages saying that we should keep it going. So here we are.
Yeah, we're back. You know,
we're still working out some of the technical kinks. We have a lot of wires running everywhere, and only a certain number of inputs and stuff. But anyways, okay, tonight's guy. Willie Dixon. You know, if you're into like blues and stuff like that, of course, like you must have heard of Willie Dixon.
Chicago blues, man.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
Yeah, we'll get to it eventually. But like, if you've heard of Chess Records and all that, like if you like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and a whole bunch of the huge staples of
basically,
blues.
Yeah, all the chess guys.
Yeah. So this guy, he was. He was born in like the late 30s down in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Actually, I think it was like 1915, which was actually only a couple hours away from Clarksdale, which is where Muddy Waters was born, just like 2 years earlier. So it's kind of cool. They were like, not too far apart from each other. And like later on, once you get into the 50s and stuff, they had mutual music careers going on at this, at the same time and stuff. He spent his days down in Vicksburg, singing and stuff, and he was exposed to like, gospel music and stuff like that and what have you, singing and
big man too.
Big dude.
6'6".
6'6", 250.
Yeah,
that's pretty big.
He's a Golden Gloves boxer.
Yes. Yeah. So he moved up to Chicago, in partners.
The shit out of everybody. Basically everyone's smaller than you at that point.
Yeah. He won it was like Golden Gloves heavyweight champion in Illinois, and like I don't know, it was like 45 or something like that. But anyway, shortly after that, like there was this dude he met through boxing, who was into music as well, and he knew that Willie, was a good singer and stuff, and they kind of, would harmonize together, and they kind of started a couple bands. Like the first ones they formed, it was mostly like a vocal group, kind of like blues, gospel inspired, was the Five Breezes, So after his boxing career, which apparently, he did pretty good, but he started getting more into music. Kind of this dude that he met actually built him his first bass, which apparently was just like a one-string bass with like a tin can at the bottom for like a, and that was his first bass. And like he started learning bass, and he learned guitar too, and we did a couple different, groups at the time, and one of them was a couple of their tunes, I think, was put out by this label called Aristocrat, which eventually that would become Chess.
Right, and so how he gets signed to Chess at some point, or he just is a carryover to Chess, and then he ends up becoming like more of the working for them, like not as just a artist, but as like
he like session played and
he was scouted. He was a scout. So basically he ends up recruiting a lot of these guys that end up being on shows.
Right. Yeah. And like going back to Chess, that's another. It's like the American staple of the all-time blues.
Blues. That's what Chess
label. And a little history on that. So there were this family of immigrants from Poland at the time. They moved to Chicago. The two co-owners is Leonard Chess and Phil Chess. But actually they when they moved to America as they weren't even teenagers yet, 7 or 8 or something. They have these these names that I couldn't even pronounce. Leonard Chess's name was actually Lesjor or something. And the last name was CYZK or something, and Phil's name was something else different, but they kind of Americanized it, and they didn't even speak English, they were taking classes to speak and stuff and going to school.
That sounds way too hard.
Yeah, I don't like classes or learning. Too much.
No,
But their dad, he was in America earlier already, and he kind of ran I think a general store, and he was selling liquor and stuff. I think even bootleg liquor during the Prohibition times and stuff. And so they were kind of growing up with this the American dream type of spirit, entrepreneurial type of stuff. And they were selling liquor too, and that's what their dad was into. And they had a juke joint where they'd sell liquor, and they brought in a jukebox, and they play records. And they're like, man, this is pretty popular.
Right.
And then after that, they actually opened up a club where they had blues acts and R&B acts and stuff. And they also sold records. So they were slowly getting into the music scene. And then eventually they got an opportunity, or had made enough money to purchase this Aristocrat Records, and then they changed it to Chess. And that was about the same time that they hired Willie Dixon. Right. And kind of he was a singer and a guitar player, bass player. But then he kind of became their producer, songwriter,
so
talent scout.
That's how he ended up writing all these for Bo Diddley and Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters. Well, Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters obviously were already had blues guys of their own. They they didn't know what they were doing, but he kind of revitalized their careers.
I think Muddy Waters, one of his first early hits, he had a couple songs on Aristocrat, and what's the one? I Can't Be Satisfied, which is one of his staples.
Yeah.
That was one of the hits for Aristocrat, a couple years before it became Chess.
Right.
So Muddy Waters was already there in Chicago and stuff. Howlin' Wolf comes a little bit later.
Right. Yeah, but man, 54, Hoochie Coochie Man. What
yeah,
that's crazy.
Wasn't even alive.
So what famous blues songs that have been covered by so many other blues artists, and then going into once you get into rock and roll and stuff that all these other rock and roll bands have covered. So you have Hoochie Coochie Man.
Yeah, there's Little Red Rooster.
Little Red Rooster, which the Stones
did.
Covered.
Backdoor Man.
Backdoor Man. Bring It On Home, which we all know, the Led Zeppelin.
Well, that was part of Willie Dixon's plight. He ended up not getting any credit. He had to fight for all the royalties that he got. I don't know,
And I heard,
it was
so many
he started
songs.
Several foundations to help artists get their royalties and stuff, because there wasn't really a set of rules in place for royalties and stuff like that. And so the Zeppelin, they took 2 or 3 of his songs and made monster hits out of them.
Right. Oh yeah, like some of the other ones, like I Can't Quit You, Babe, and You Shook Me. Those are all Willie Dixon written songs.
I think in court they ended up giving him like a co-credit. How nice is that?
Very nice.
Right.
It's like, okay.
So yeah, at the time, he deserved a lot more recognition than he was getting. I don't know if you can hear that, but we have a dog. We have a dog here, and Ben's gonna go quiet her down. So yeah, I mean, Muddy Waters was already kind of like a staple in the Chicago scene, and then we have Howlin' Wolf that kind of moved to town. I think like a lot of blues dudes, moving up north to kind of moving to the cities and stuff where there was more jobs and stuff, moving out of the South. Like I think a lot of them stopped in Memphis and stuff, but a lot of them eventually made their way up to Chicago. And so for a long time it was like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, and they were kind of had like a little bit of like a rivalry going. And I also heard that like Howlin' Wolf, he was sometimes kind of he was like skeptical of doing the songs that Willie Dixon would pitch to him, because he was like, he always gives Muddy Waters like the hits and stuff like that.
Right.
And so Willie Dixon himself said that. Oh, there's Ginny. Willie Dixon himself even said that like sometimes he would kind of pitch songs to Howlin' Wolf as like, this is one that I was going to give to Muddy, but like try to, and like of course he would he'd be like, okay, in that case, And like another funny story is also Howlin' Wolf could barely read, like later on, like he would take like reading lessons and stuff. Somebody was teaching him, I forget who, but so like on like some songs, I heard that in the recording studio in Chess, Willie Dixon would be standing next to Howlin' Wolf, like whispering the lyrics in his ear. Like, another huge one for Howlin' Wolf is Wang Dang Doodle. Yeah, that one has a lot of words.
Wang Dang Doodle. Yeah, there's a lot of whispering going on with that one.
So that's another huge one that a lot of people cover. Like Coco Taylor, another Chess artist, does like an awesome version of that later on. So yeah, there was this like cool kind of rivalry going on between Muddy and Howlin' Wolf.
Willie Dixon songs kept, one of those guys. His songs just kept getting used like later in the late 60s and 70s, like the Small Faces did You Need Love, and that was kind of like the up tempo like rock version, and then Zeppelin kind of stole that version and flipped the lyrics around.
Which is always so crazy to me. Like I always knew the Zeppelin version before all the other versions. I remember like my buddy Brian actually showed me, like, shout out to Brian, Cozy, Black Iron Bistro, great place.
He sponsored?
No, he gave me $50.
Oh, okay.
Just saying that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. But no, he showed me that, that Small Faces version of that Zeppelin tune. Yeah. And I was like blown away. And then I was like, oh man, Steve Marriott is such a great singer.
Even you now are calling it a Zeppelin tune. I mean,
it's not. It's Willie Dixon song. Obviously,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I was just trying to prove.
Right. No, you did well. You did well.
No, but like I was blown away by that. So it's crazy how he wrote so many of these songs that there's like the Zeppelin one. Like I'm like listening to that when I'm learning how to play as a kid. Like no idea who this guy is until recently.
Little Red Rooster's another one. A lot of guys did, like Rolling Stones. Sam Cooke has a version. There's and they're all like big hits for him too. They're not just like little.
No, it's crazy.
It's like,
and like speaking of the Stones, like all of these guys in England and stuff, right before the British invasion was happening, like they're all, so influenced by American blues and rhythm and blues and stuff. And like the Stones have one of their songs called 2120 South Michigan Avenue, because that's the address of Chess Records.
Oh,
which,
that's cool.
I don't know if
Well,
you
I
knew
mean,
that.
also they're called the Rolling Stones, which is
which was the Muddy Water song.
Right. So.
But like the cool thing, speaking of that, like a lot of people are introduced to a lot of these songs through whether it's Zeppelin or Cream or something like that. But like, so blues was always like was always this like really old sounding like down home kind of music. Like even when it was popular, which I think is kind of cool. Like it was always like an old style of music.
Right.
And like when Chess started recording the blues, that was right when blues was starting to go electric. Like when people were having electric guitars, and people was like, "This is so weird." Like this down home acoustic, kind of music is now electric, and like a lot of people thought, like, "No, that's never gonna work," and they didn't think it was a good idea. But the records were doing really well, and so it's kind of like picture like when Bob Dylan went electric, and it's like no, that's not going to work.
Well, this is the perfect opportunity to push this Howlin' Wolf album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Read that.
Yeah, I know how to read.
But like, so what I was getting at is that so it's this old kind of music, and then it went electric, and then was getting lots of popularity and stuff like that, and then kind of in the late 50s, I guess, and getting into the early 60s, rock and roll and other stuff is starting to become popular, and it's kind of like the dawn of rock and roll. And so blues was kind of dying out as this like old kind of music that people weren't into. But around that same time, like, Muddy Waters did like his first tour in England and stuff like that. And, over there we have like, little Keith Richards as a kid who's like, getting exposed to, these awesome American bluesmen and like influenced them so much. And then all of these like British invasion bands are picking up on all this American music. And now all of a sudden that stuff is getting really popular. Like once you get into the mid 60s and the later 60s.
Right.
And then once people realize that, the British invasion's coming over, and they're playing a lot of these old like blues songs and like R&B songs. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh yeah, like this was, whether it's a Muddy Waters song or a Bo Diddley song, or who was another chess guy.
Right.
And so then blues kind of got another like resurgence, which is like, so blues was big, started to die out, and then these people in England are like picking up on it and then kind of giving it back to America and then making it popular again, and then blues are popular again, and then it goes on to
Right.
then later in the 60s then we have Cream and Zeppelin and all this other stuff. And it's kind of like the cool thing about music is like just everyone's influenced and inspired by something and kind of putting it through a different filter, and and then putting it back out, and then it inspires another generation to do the same thing. And like that's kind of where we are,
Right,
it's like that's the cool thing.
Well,
is that
it inspires one generation to want to do something different, and then
Right.
the one after that
And
to kind
then-
of look back and
and then like if you're super into music, you're going to like track down the whole
roots.
line of
Yeah.
like, oh, this is who this dude
That's
is.
like
And
that's like one of the weird things is like we're like learning it in reverse order, because like first you find out about this band and then you hear them talking about who they liked,
Right.
and it's like it's like like the oldest stuff is like almost like the newest stuff to you. It's kind of like strange how that.
And it's like when you finally start going back to like your Robert Johnson and stuff like that, you're like, oh man, you're like like when to the time when like blues and stuff, and like when music in general was first being recorded.
He was like he had a hard life. Like he went. I mean, I read that he was like learned how to sing like at like a prison camp or something, and then he went to jail yet again for like being a conscientious objector.
Yeah,
that's one of those words. From World War II. And he went to jail for 10 months. 10 months. Yeah. But still, like he actually went to jail. Like he's like singing the blues. Like he was like, it's it's like Old Brother Where Art Thou, like he was doing that kind of shit, you know, and like that's where he learned how to sing,
but,
which is like
that's
crazy.
Like a huge, awesome thing. Like, the same thing. Like everyone knows Muhammad Ali. Like during the Vietnam War, he was a conscientious objector. But like Willie Dixon did the same thing and went to prison because, because he didn't want to fight for this, this country where there was all this racism and unjust laws, which is obviously something that still an issue. But even like then during World War II, he was like, no, fuck that. I'm not. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we do have a gift card. We have to give away for Bandcamp.
How are we gonna give it away?
I was thinking maybe we would make a trivia question, but I don't really know one. I mean, basically, any question is just going to be whoever can Google it first.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But, how about, I don't know anything.
Who knows?
We should have done the address of Chester.
Yeah. Or Muddy Waters' real name.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. H2O.
Good one.
Alright, if anybody can answer what Muddy Waters' real name is, first comment, we'll hit you up with that Bandcamp gift card. You guys
want me to tell you guys?
Oh, you guys can't win the gift card.
Yeah,
guys. Answer. Nice try, Burns.
Typing over there.
Yeah, I see what you're up to.
One person left.
But so I mean, besides writing all these songs, Willie Dixon is playing bass on like a lot of recordings, like Muddy Waters recordings and stuff.
He's one of those guys that you pick up any instrument and play.
Look at this, I'm better than him.
Yeah. And like speaking, he's like this huge. He has this huge stature. One thing I was mentioning to Benny earlier, which I thought was kind of cool, like. So also, Howlin' Wolf, everyone knows, is like this big heavy-set guy. And some of Howlin' Wolf's songs, like he has one song called, this one in particular, that's crazy. I'm built for comfort, I ain't built for speed. And he has another one called 300 Pounds of Joy.
Yeah.
Like it sounds perfect, like Howlin' Wolf must have wrote these songs about himself. But they were actually songs that Willie Dixon originally intended on doing himself, but gave them to Howlin' Wolf. So that's a cool little tidbit.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, the album side is almost over, so you know what that means. We're just starting a new rule that when the album side is over, we go back and play some more songs.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
We got a couple more Willie Dixon songs for you.
Yeah, we're gonna do. I mean, you guys probably are gonna know these ones. Yeah.
We went super popular on you, but we're not sellouts.
Yeah. Unless
we have a winner.
We have a winner.
Christopher Andrews.
Christopher Andrews.
All right.
Interesting.
It's now. Actually.
What?
Was he wrong?
There's a typo.
There's a typo.
Well, let's see what the typo is. I want to judge. I want to judge. Let me see it. What's his name?
You could just tell us. You don't have to get up.
It's actually.
All right. Well,
we'll count it. Chris. Send us a DM on Facebook, or we'll send one to you.
Chris.
He got it. He got it.
He got it.
He got it.
Congratulations.
It's an acceptable error.
It's McKinley Morganfield.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go back and play you guys a couple songs.
All right, we're back. We're back. Spoonful for you. Get retuned up here real quick and give you another one of the all-time classic Willie Dixon songs. And again, let us know what you thought, and if you got any suggestions for, songwriters or bands or anything, hit us up. got a boy child coming. Gonna be a son of a gun. Gonna make pretty women jump and shout. Then the world won't know what this all about. Go out here. Everybody know down here. Hoochie coochie man. Everybody know down here. I got a black cap on. Got a mojo too. I got Johnny Cocker. I'm gonna mess with you. Gonna make you girl leave me by my hand. Then the world's gonna know I'm a hoochie coochie man. I'm here. Everybody knows I'm here. I'm a hoochie coochie man. All around the world knows I'm here. On the 7th hour, on the 7th day, on the 7th month, the 7 doctors said he was born for good luck. Back to sea, I got $700. Don't you mess with me, you know I'm here. Everybody knows I'm here. I'm a hoochie coochie man. Whole damn world knows I'm here. Yeah. knows I'm him. All right, that's our Willie Dixon episode. Hopefully everything sounded all right. We didn't screw up any of the technical stuff.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys had a lot of fun. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah, tune in next time. Are we going to do it next week, or I don't know?
We probably should. Send us some suggestions of maybe who you want. We got a bunch of people in mind, but we want to please you guys that are listening. So
yeah, all right.
And just remember, everybody, stay safe out there. And by out there, I mean in your homes, quarantine. Keep your hands washed. Keep those faces covered when you go outside. Don't cough out, and about without covering your mouth. I saw people doing that, so don't do that. I mean, it's just common courtesy. So other than that, everyone's doing great. So just keep it up. We'll get through this.
Okay.
I don't know why I always look at Joe after I